So, welcome everyone for this meeting. I'm happy to see you here, and maybe some more people will join, more had registered. Nevertheless, we can work with each other and explore with each other about the topic. And for me, everyone counts. So I'm happy to have this meeting. A very short introduction for me. My name is Irmtraud Kauschat, and I live in Germany all my life. And justice, fairness was already in my childhood a very high value. And I experienced many situations that I did not find fair or just. And I always was looking for ways how this could be different. And then when I got to know NVC, I had the impression this could be something, an opportunity with which we can live in a different world where people really get seen. In my experience, looking back now, often the impression that's not fair, that's not just, had to do with not being seen, with my needs I tried to meet, with my my beauty, why I acted like I had acted. And so NVC is really an option for me to go deeper into this topic and to explore ways how we can live in a more just, in a more fair way. And I also realized, even in my childhood, that when I had the impression things were not fair, that the relationship was broken. I remember a situation when I was about 7 or 8, that a boy who was somewhat older than I and much stronger had cornered me about maybe 200 meters from where I lived, from home. And I was so desperate, I was so helpless, that the only way I could try to take care for my safety, to defend myself, to call him names, and very loud. And when I came home, my father asked me, was that you who called these names? And I said yes, and wanted to explain why. And before I could even explain, he slapped me. And it was not only the pain of being slapped, it was even more that I lost trust in my father, that he would support me, he would care for me. And they stayed with me for many, many years, decades, that this part of not fully trusting my father anymore, as this was broken, this relationship was much affected. So that is why, for me, it's so important to have NVC as an option to talk about the needs I had in the situation, my father had in the situation that were not met, and how could we find ways to connect with each other, to listen to each other, to find other solutions if I would be in a similar situation. And so that's also why I started to consider restorative justice for this meeting, to break it down to daily life situations, because it starts there in our childhood, or in the childhood of our children, grandchildren, so, or with colleagues. So for me, it is important that we explore options, how we can use restorative justice to repair broken relationships, when I think that's not fair, that's not just, because it's so important, especially nowadays, that we can connect with each other in societies where there are more and more gaps between each other. And that's something that's really important for me. And maybe you have questions so far before we can go deeper into it. Okay, I don't see anyone having a question. So as this group is so small, I suggest that we could try to work on examples that you have from your life, maybe from the past or from a few days back or even half an hour back. And we could explore together first empathy for you, and then trying to consider ways how you could restore this relationship, maybe talking with the other person, so that we could, you could get real support. As the group is so small, this is an option.
Okay. First of all, it's quite interesting because when you said that you could give us and we could bring something ours, I felt very happy about it, because it could be something very close to me. And on the other hand, I feel in difficulties, because I usually, it's very hard for me to fix the examples of what happens. It's like I skip over. I mean, I'm touched by them, but then they sort of go in a fog, and it's very difficult for me to bring them back and actually look at them clearly. Okay, so, and this is quite interesting, because it's something that I want to investigate, how it happens, why. Because it's like they're very crucial in that moment, but then I sort of try to put away. So this is why I need a lot of time and a lot of concentration to think of an example. It's not easy for me. It's a difficult task. That's why I usually prefer somebody else's examples, because I am in a difficult situation. But okay, I'll try. I was, okay, my husband has, okay, this is very personal, but I hope. My husband's mother is Jew, and he refused to read the newspapers in the last few months. Okay, he closed. He decided not to know anything what was going on, because he couldn't bear what was. We live in Italy. He's not Jew, but still, there is an emotional link to that. So he sort of doesn't want to know. I am reading a lot, of course. I'm reading an article. I'm trying to understand what is going on, but that's not the problem. And the thing is that I wanted to have, on one hand, I wanted to talk to him about this, because I wanted to know what he thinks, and to share, and to, was it good? So what happened, like 4 days ago, we were at dinner, and we were having dinner, and my daughter was with us, and she's 29. And he asked her opinion and what she knows, and started asking her about the situation. At that moment, I completely lost control, because I felt that he didn't want to talk to me but he managed to talk to my daughter about this. And so I said, now, so I interrupted their conversation quite brutally and asked, okay, now you tell me why you can talk to her and you don't talk to me. I want to know why. Because I was furious. I was really furious about that. And so I was determined to know and to ask him why he didn't want to talk to me about this. I mean, not only to me. He doesn't read anything. He doesn't talk to anybody. But why he would accept to talk to our daughter, but not to me. And so, in the end, what he said was that the way I approach things, I usually very a bit aggressive or too much energy, and he couldn't bear that kind of energy in such a difficult issue. He was protecting him because he couldn't. Okay, so this is a fact. And just telling this to you, it makes me really sad. And there's a wound because I feel I haven't even given a chance to try to speak about it. There was something he decided anyway, that was the way I would speak, or I would say things. And so there is something very it's hurting a lot. Basically.
Are you willing to stay a moment longer with this sadness? There's something else coming up?
I don't know, it's like I don't feel like being seen, or I don't feel like he really I don't know.
Is it about,
decided, yes?
is it about connection?
Yeah, it's about connection. It's about being seen, about giving value to what I could, the possibility that I could bring some knowledge, something important to so I can see his, because as I told you, I can see, but it's with my head, not with that he was protecting himself.
Yeah. So let us stay a bit longer with you, because that's first part.
Yeah.
So I get that you feel sad, that you have a need for community, maybe also for acknowledgement that you could contribute something.
Yes. And also that I am not definitely aggressive or always, I don't know, it's like being given an attitude or given something that was, there wasn't trust. I didn't feel trust.
Mm.
He wasn't trusting me. He didn't trust the thing that I could be gentle. He couldn't trust I could stop if he wanted to. So probably there were more trust.
Mm.
Trust in the sense of being able to give more importance to connection than to what I wanted to say, than to my opinion.
Yeah.
It's like probably this balance between protection, between connection and opinion.
Mm.
What is more important? I feel
What
yes.
comes to my mind now, maybe there's something, a step even before that. Could it be that you were shocked, that you were in much pain and would have needed empathy, somebody listening to your pain?
Yes, probably I wasn't. You mean I wanted to talk about this because this way I could share my worries. Yes. Yes, there is probably also this. Yes.
And maybe this energy that you were in so much pain and that you needed empathy, and he was not able, he didn't have the capacity to support you in this, might have landed with him as an energy he needed to protect himself from. Could this be?
Yes, probably. Yes.
How is this for you, considering this?
How is this for you?
How is this for you, considering this?
Oh, considering this. No, I'm starting feeling it, not only thinking, which is different. That it wasn't in his capacity in that to be connected to me and to give me and I feel more relaxed. More, yeah. Yeah, there is less this attitude of being angry with him. Yes.
And is there someone apart from us now, right now, whom you could ask for empathy, because it doesn't seem to be finished yet, so maybe you need more empathy?
Yes. Yes. Yes, there is someone I can ask.
Yes.
Yeah.
So please do so. And I guess then you would have the capacity to listen to him, because he might also need empathy.
Yes, I will. Thank you.
Thank you for your trust. And I have a guess about this fog. Would you like to hear it?
You have what?
I guess about this fog, you explained that things are very, very much there in this moment, very present, and then there comes some kind of fog.
If I have a thought about this?
I have an idea about it, and I wonder if you want to hear it.
Oh, sure. I have, yes.
My guess is that one thing is it might be about empathy, that you need empathy, and you could check situations where you have this kind of fog. If you need empathy and then you feel helpless because you don't know whom to ask, maybe. And then it kind of disappears and something.
Okay. So what you're saying is that the fact that the things usually disappear or they go away could be also the fact that I need someone, would be helpful for me to have someone to ask empathy for in order to sense those things more deeply.
Yes.
Thank you.
You can try and you will see if it works or not.
Yes, I can try, sure. Thank you.
And is there also something about your relationship with your daughter, or is this okay? Because the situation was between, well, you and your husband, where you sensed he doesn't trust me. And is there also something about your daughter, or is this okay?
No, about my daughter, no, because she was very balanced, I would say. Even when he said, "Oh, why are you interrupting and saying things?" I wanted to talk to her. Now everything is ruined. She said, "No, don't worry, nothing is ruined. We can continue our conversation later on." So he sort of made space to hold my pain.
Okay.
She made space to hold my pain, so no problem. No, I don't feel anything, any particular. Also, because she afterwards, when they continued, she said, "And this, what I'm telling you, comes from Mom." So you don't want to talk to her, but I know because she told me so. No, she was very balanced.
Yes.
And,
okay. Okay, thank you. So thank you for this example, and I wonder if somebody else has an example or a question. And welcome, Charles. I think one thing to take with us from this example is that it's important to have enough people to whom I can turn when I have a need for empathy, and not only expect it from one specific person. And maybe also in this situation, realizing that I am in pain. And at times I think I might just discuss something with somebody on a factual level. And still below this, on a deeper level, there is my pain. And I actually would need empathy. Maybe I'm not aware of it. And still, I would need empathy. And so when the other person is also in pain, they cannot receive me with empathy, even if they know NVC and know what empathy is about. So it's helpful to have a circle of people to whom I can turn when I need empathy.
I'm still having in mind the situation when I read the message someone of our network sends to this signal group. And I think, yeah, in this person is a lot of frustration and fear what might happen or something else. And that comes to me right now when we spoke about the case of Agnes. Before I didn't have had this. I only I remember I wrote a short message too, but that was not according to his needs or to this what he might have needed. And I think with empathy, I could say to him, yes, are you still frustrated and full of fear what might happen in the politics and how this might change or something like this. I have not really in mind for now, not really in mind what he has written. I just thought to take my handy, but it's a bit far away. So I only have it in mind. Mm.
So what I get from you now is that you recall a situation in our network when someone wrote something and you did not write back with empathy, guessing feelings and needs, but made just a comment. And now you realize you would prefer, you still can do it.
Yeah.
To answer differently, to check about feelings and needs.
About his feelings and needs, and not about my feelings and needs and about my opinion. That is really far away. Yeah. Yeah. A daily challenge.
Yes.
To react with empathy and to see the needs and feelings in the other person.
And that's what I like about NVC. Before I got to know NVC, I thought, okay, that's over. Now you cannot do anything about it. You were wrong, and now you bear with the consequences. And with NVC, I understood that it's possible to go back to the person and tell them, I regret that I acted in this way, and here I am, and I would like to try again and to see how we can connect again.
Yeah. Yeah. And this is a way to hold connection.
Yes, it saved a lot of my friendships, relationships.
Yes. So this is not longer a case to talk about.
Yes. Maybe I go a bit deeper in general in restorative justice, a bit more outside daily life situations. My experience is that often people are still in the paradigm of punishment, and then they are frustrated as things don't still work the way they had hoped for. And it is so important to support people, to also especially parents, to support people to look for the needs behind an action. And punishment usually does not really work in the long run. It is an extrinsic motivation to do something, to behave in a specific way. And if we would like people to act from a way we call life-serving in NVC, then it is more helpful to find ways that people would come from intrinsic motivation, that they really want to contribute to life. And then this can be helpful in any level of daily life and also in official justice. Often people also, after a court ruling, walk away with the idea, this was not just. Yes, this person is punished, they go to jail or they have to pay a compensation, but it's not just. And this depends on the fact that we usually, in our, at least Western court system, focus on the person who acted in a violent way, that we try to reform them, usually by punishing. And we forget about the people who received the violence. Usually they don't get space to be listened to. And if they get listened to, then usually it's more like an inquiry. Why did you do this? And why didn't you do this? From the defender of the person who committed the violence. And they are not seen as the people who received the violence. And this would be very important to change. And most of the times it's more important for them to be listened to. It's not so much that the person who did something harmful, that they pay a compensation or so. It is more like, I need to be seen as a human being with my pain, with my fear, with my needs that were not met. Like somebody broke into my home, then yes, it would be great to get another TV and I don't know what the person took away. And at the same time, even if I have the TV again, I might still not feel safe in my home because with all the protection I had, somebody could enter there. So I want to be seen with this pain, with this fear, with this need for safety, for security. And how can I restore this? So it would be very important that people get listened to, and then from there we find a solution. And this would be also very important for the official justice system. And at the same time, not only, maybe also in situations of bullying in the workplace or in school, that not only the student who bullied another one gets punished or gets listened to and get some task to compensate, but also the other person who received the violence, that they get listened to with empathy, not with pity, with oh, poor girl, poor boy, but with empathy to support their empowerment. They need to get out of the victim role. And that's also something that's important for me in restorative justice, to bring the receiver of violence out of a victim role, which at times might in the beginning quite helpful, because at least I'm acknowledged with receiving the violence. And at the same time, staying in this victim role is weakening people, takes power away. And that is, for example, why in Germany, people working with women who had been raped, I think maybe 15, 20 years back, they started to change from calling them victims to survivors. Because it has a different energy, a different power. If I had been raped, moving from a victim to a survivor, because then I am connecting with my inner strength, with my resilience. I survived it. It's a different energy. And this would be, on the other hand, also important when we are supporting people who received violence, that we support them to get into this energy of survivor, because it will give them more power and more resilience in the future. And I wonder if you have questions about this or comments.
So I didn't get the word that you use instead of victim, because I know that the doer or the author I would use, but for the victim, which is the word that you were saying?
Survivor.
Survivor. Okay. Or receiver? How does it? No.
That's a different category. One is, if we go to restorative circles, there is this author and receiver. And for me, survivor has a different energy.
Okay.
Can you sense it?
Yeah.
Receiver is still something passive. I'm receiving, not a victim, which is even more passive. Receive, and so
survivor gives the energy of being alive.
Yes.
Yeah.
Keeping yourself alive.
Yeah.
Okay. So survivor and then so not author, but?
Well, we could call this person author, that's okay.
This person?
Author. And the survivor gives also some kind of dignity to the person on the receiving end.
Yeah.
And maybe it makes sense to distinguish if, I don't know, my children are beating each other or calling each other names. I could go with receiver of violence. Survivor might be a bit big. And then there are violent actions like rape or beating people very hard or bullying. Then for me, it would be more appropriate to call the person survivor.
Yeah, sure. So you mean like when I am at school, if I have two boys fighting and then one of them do something to the other, call the other survivor is a bit probably
a bit exaggerated.
Yeah.
And it depends if this has happened many, many times. then maybe survivor might be appropriate.
Yeah, sure.
Mm.
And if it's just a little fight, then I wouldn't say that this person is a survivor.
Yeah.
And maybe I would like to ask them how they identify, because otherwise I'm imposing something on someone.
Mm.
And for me, it's important to get them out of this victimhood.
Yeah. Mm.
And receiver is already not a victim, so there are some nuances to it.
Thank you.
Mm. Yeah, in my class it was helpful to say not these names, but to say, I see that you are both in trouble, and that for me it is important that you are safe here in this room, and that you stay safe, and that every one of you is staying safe in this room. And then most of the times we could talk to one another. So I have not used these words in the sounding with children.
Well, I think it's helpful to find our own expressions. My main focus is to get out of victimhood.
Yeah. Mm.
Shall I bring another example of something that?
Yes.
Now, I'm just asking for advices at the moment. I am a teacher, and in June, the very last days of school, I teach middle school children, so they're about 12 years old, 13 years old. One boy, I mean, I wasn't there, so I've been told. One boy pushed his friend's head on the desk, and he hit the head, and he had a wound near his eye. So that was a big thing because the parents were worried and all that, etc. And this, when the adults came into actions, that created a lot of disconnection, because they expected parents were expecting excuses, or the school doing something, so then the other parents, and etc., etc., etc. You can imagine. Because it was the end of the year, not much really happened, because in one sense or the other, because the school just wrote something that said that this boy should behave differently, and control himself doing such things, because they can be harmful. And I regret I didn't have time to actually talk properly to them, giving them empathic listening, nor making them talking to each other. Although I think they did talk to each other. And when I asked in the corridor, they said, yes, we talked, everything is fine. And then I found out that the parents were not of the same opinion, and they were thinking of withdrawing one of the kids from that class and asking to go in another, because they didn't feel their boy to be safe there. So I was just wondering how to handle this returning, at the beginning of the new year, because I think it was a big opportunity for the class to learn and then there were not the possibilities to go deeper into that. So that's the fact.
I have several ideas. One is to invite the boys again to talk, or first check if one of them or both of them still need empathy.
Mhm.
Maybe the author of this act might need empathy. He might have been punished. I don't know. By his parents. By his parents.
Okay. Yes.
I don't know. It's just a guess.
No, I'm not sure. I have to find out. But the idea was that the mother was saying it wasn't such a big thing.
Okay.
Was on the denial
Okay.
side
Okay.
more than on the punishment.
Yeah. And you could also check how it affected the other children in the class.
Mhm.
Maybe they need also some empathy, listening, being listened to, how safe they feel. I have no idea. That could be one important part.
Just to see if
If others in the class had
in
been
the class they still how they felt.
yeah.
Mhm.
Maybe not how they felt, how they feel now.
Yes, how they feel now, if they about safety, about
Mhm.
And to come up with agreements how they want to interact with each other to be safe.
Yeah.
Mhm.
This would be one thing, one level. Another level would be to check with the two parents again, where they are now.
Mhm.
And to see if they might need support to listen to each other. And maybe first empathy for both of them. The one whose child was affected, who were angry, very likely, and also the mother who was, in your words, in denial. Maybe she fears or feared if I give in and say yes, it was bad, then I will be a bad mother or so. So there could be different levels to address if you have the energy and capacity for it. And you are free to decide how much capacity you have.
Sure.
Mhm.
Because giving empathy to the mother is not easy. It's not. It's in there. That would be probably most needed, but
Yes, and maybe you invite her and tell her, I would like to listen to you. How is the situation you are in with your son? So not to make it clear that you are not blaming her, not judging her, that you're willing to listen and to see if you can support him in school in some way. So maybe this could be an opening to connect with her.
Mhm.
thank you.
And I guess more important is to check with the other children in the class if they need something to feel safe.
Yes, it probably can be a good starting point for general agreements.
Yes.
Mhm.
For sharing what is important and how can we deal with that in the future.
Mhm. Mhm.
Which is what actually is more interesting at the moment. I mean, being a classroom is what is being a class. What is interesting is how can we deal that in the future if that happens, and it will happen. Not exactly the same thing, but something of the kind.
Yeah.
Keep safety, because there is always it's a big thing about, you know, even kids that want punishment because that way they feel safe.
Yeah.
While it's more complex than that. I'm just thinking, you know, from what you said, that it might could be also, we could investigate as a group about what are our ideas about punishment, what it serves, why, what is behind.
Yeah.
And
Yes, and check with them if it really serves the intention the punisher had.
yeah,
Yeah.
yes, are they, yeah, do they serve the intention they are made for?
Yeah.
Yeah. What are the needs that move them, and do they serve the intention? Are the needs fulfilled? Yes.
And maybe also explore needs behind situations that happen at times recurrently, which other needs they try to meet. Like when they are calling each other names or beating each other or so. Often it's about connection, and certainly this does not serve connection, though, to help them to explore. And there are other strategies that work much better for connection.
Yes, no, but I was interested about the word punishment, because it's something that the parents ask for and the kids ask for, and so to actually clarify and sort of make it come up, what are the beliefs behind it, can help in the future to go really into, see, okay, what are the intention of the punishment? What can, either because they receive the punishment, but also because they ask for punishment. So it's a key word.
Yes.
In the relationship between teachers and pupils, and parents and pupils, and parents and teachers. If we're giving punishment, if we're not giving punishment, he doesn't study, so we give punishment or whatever. So this key word comes very often. So it can be dense.
Yeah.
Investigate the beliefs behind punishment. That's big.
Yeah.
That is linked to the fact of feeling safe.
Yes.
Basically. Protection.
Yes, and also try to explore what happens when you get punished. Do you think of revenge? Especially when you think it's unfair? Is it really what the other person wanted to get? So I think this can be really insightful.
Yeah. Or shame, both.
Yes.
Revenge and shame, they're two products of.
Yes.
And the kids are asking for punishment because they don't know other ways.
Yeah, exactly.
They learned punishment from their parents. And yeah. And on the other side, they are so happy when they see that there are other ways to deal with conflicts and so.
But also to take, talking to you, is it okay if I tell you what I'm thinking, or in front? Is it okay? Because as I'm thinking, it's like punishment is. Oh, no, I lost my. Say it again, Christina. What were you saying? That was. Can you repeat what you said? Because it was helping me in remembering.
Yes, in short, I said that the kids don't know other ways. They learn punishment from their parents, and therefore they are asking for punishment. And on the other side, when they can see other ways to solve, to deal with their conflicts, they are really happy to get to know this.
Yes.
And they don't ask any longer for punishment.
Yes. And also in a certain way, I'd like them to give the opportunity to see the agreement, to follow the agreement, not because there would be a punishment if you don't follow the agreement, which we usually teachers call rules, which is okay, but because they can see that what they do has a consequence on others. So has to do about serving life and serving the community more, and not about shame or punishment or anything like that, which is a completely different energy. So why we are not breaking the rules, or breaking, I don't call rules, but why we're not breaking an agreement is because, not because I'm afraid of punishment, but because I take into consideration the value of the other people around me and of the community
and the dignity of the other people.
Thank you, Christina, for this note.
And at times an agreement doesn't work. Doesn't meet their needs, even if they had agreed on it beforehand. So then you might need to revisit it and check, is it really working? And that's what I am suggesting when you come up with agreements, that you already make an appointment for the next meeting when you review it and consider, does all of this work, or do we need to adjust it because we realize we found this wonderful and now we realize it's not doable.
Yes, sure.
There's something else that came up during this part of our meeting. Then my suggestion is we stop here, because my intention was to work on your examples, and if there's nothing else, then and you don't have questions in general, then we can go for checking out, to harvesting, see what you take with you from today. You can also, Charles, you can also write it in the chat if you have an opportunity to write it in the chat.
I will begin my new year much stronger.
Okay.
I'll let you know how it goes.
Yes, I
this investigation about punishment.
Yes.
Okay.
I would love to get information. Thank you.
I will let you know. Yes. It is very challenging, but I will prepare myself and be able to have the capacity the emotional capacity to.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
And thank you for your willingness to share with us. So for me, it was very lively.
Mhm.
Is there someone else who would like to share something?
Yes, I came here because I was interested in the topic and I wanted to learn something about restorative justice. And my takeaway is that it is a focused form of empathy.
Mhm.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And it is so helpful to get reminded at this and to yeah to have this in mind every time so that you don't lose it. Mhm. It's so easy to do different things than empathy.
Yes, and here from Charles, we are all the same with shared needs. Thank you all.